What up, bro? Welcome to another episode of the Brandon Janeau Show. As you know, I am Brandon Janeau, and I go on all podcast platforms everywhere. Brandon Janeau Show, social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok. Oh wait, whoa, bring it back. Instagram, Threads, Brandon Janeau, just Brandon Janeau, Instagram and Threads. Facebook, the Brandon Janeau Show, and of course, TikTok, Brandon Janeau Show. Go follow me on all those social media platforms. I hope you guys enjoy this episode because tonight, you already know, it's I Believe Sports. And just like always, I Believe Sports is always on my YouTube channel, BrandonJaneauShow. Yeah, I did the ass backwards. I am so sorry. It's been a long fucking week. It's only been Tuesday. Yeah. Um, my YouTube channel, BrandonJaneauShow. Go subscribe. Shout out to everybody that's been subscribing. Thank you to anybody that has been subscribing, man. Over 200 subscribers. Season 10 is almost over. Season 11 theme is coming soon. I will be posting that soon after I'm done with everything with season 10. Over 200 episodes. Crazy. Yeah. Tuesday, like I said, is I Bleed Sports. You already know. Football is going crazy. I'm looking for and waiting for the goddamn polls to drop, which seems like the shit ain't gonna come out no time soon. Or they probably gonna push them back for a couple of, hour or two. I don't fucking know. But either way, um, it's going crazy, man. So you already know football is going crazy. Football, college football, NFL, everything's going nuts the last couple of weeks. And of course, uh, just random sports is going on like this. Kicking it off with this. So, Shakur Stevenson. At first, was Shakur Stevenson was supposed to fight William Sapeta in February of this February, start off the year, right? And then that fight got canceled. Um, Tank Davis was supposed to fight Frank Roach December 14th. That fight got canceled. So now the question has become, why the fuck y'all just don't fight each other? Why the fuck y'all just don't fight each other? Listen, man, everybody knows. If you've ever heard me speak on this show, you know who my favorite boxer is right now in boxing, and that's Tank Davis. I think the boy just got the full package, man. I think the boy can block. I think the boy can hit. I think the boy got the power. I've never seen him take a punch and he couldn't give it back. And that shit goes a long fucking way. Some people got the defense but don't have the power. Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson. I wouldn't even say Devin Haney got defense like that, but Shakur Stevenson. Some people got the boxing ability but don't have the power or truly the defense to really go with it. Devin Haney. Some people got the power, not the footwork or the boxing ability. You have the power but not the boxing ability, the footwork, or the defense. Ryan Garcia. Like, Ryan Garcia. And that's kind of how I look at the boxing world. Tank Davis has kind of all of it. He kind of has all of it, and that's the thing. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know why Shakur and Tank just aren't. Well, some people are saying it's really Shakur Stevenson that just doesn't want to fight Tank, and I kind of get why he doesn't want to fight Tank because, like I said, Tank will put pressure on Shakur. He would actually force Shakur to actually have to box him. He would actually force Shakur to actually have to step up his ability and intake. Shakur's a better boxer than Tank. I think Shakur's a way better boxer than Tank. But what Shakur can do in the ring kind of could get overly exposed. It get exposed. I won't say overly exposed, but it get exposed because what Shakur can do is be a really good defender, but he doesn't have the power to keep Tank off of him. And if you watch the Frank Morton fight, Frank Morton was tagging Tank a couple times. He got Tank a couple of good times in that fucking fight, but he couldn't keep Tank off of him. Once Tank started to settle in and start to sit down on those punches, Frank was a dead man. Now I mean that in a bad. Frank was done because he was tagging him to his body, which slowed down his intake of him walking back and forth. So if you get hit in the body enough, your stamina starting to drop. I feel like that's what happened with Shakur. As good as Shakur is, Tank will get inside and start tagging his ass, and that is the end. If he gets inside and start tagging his body, it's he boys duffer, boys duffer, because then it slows down your ability to just keep walking around the ring, and that's kind of what Shakur does. Shakur is a really good boxer, but he kind of, and I'm gonna say Shakur just walks around the ring, but he kind of stands there in the pocket and he just he doesn't have the boxing ability of a Tank. He doesn't have the power like Tank. Shakur early in his career did. I don't know what the fuck has happened. I don't know what's happened. The same thing with Devin Haney. I don't know what happened. They used to have the power. They used to have the pop pop, the tap tap. They used to have it, and now they don't have it anymore. I don't know what the fuck has happened. Now, here's the rumor that I've been told. Teofimo Lopez could be fighting Tank Davis next. Now, if that is the case, that needs to fucking happen. I have said repeatedly, Teofimo and Tank would be a hell of a fucking fight. I think it would be one of the best fights we've ever seen. Because Teofimo, when he's actually on, like when he's actually focused, boy could fucking box. The one problem about Teofimo that I've always had though is in some point in the fight he loses fucking focus. He just doesn't care anymore. He's up so much, he knows he's already up so much that he kind of just mails it the fuck in. Is what happened with Lomachenko. So Lomachenko did like the Lomachenko fight. I remember when Loma was fighting Teofimo Lopez, and this is actually one of his best fights. But Teofimo like milled it the fuck in like the 7-8 round. Like he just milled it the fuck in like from like the 7th to like the 11th. He just mailed it the fuck in. He just stopped boxing. He stopped caring. And then he took it from him in the 12th round, which is why he won the fight. But if you watch the whole fight, the first 6 rounds was all Teofimo. Beat the shit out of Loma. But from like the 7th round to the 11th, Loma was whooping that ass now. Like I'm gonna put the pressure on that boy. He gotta get it. And that's the thing about when I look at Teofimo Lopez. It's like you gotta be focused the entire fight with Tank Davis. You can't give that nigga a chance because the moment he finds a little bit of wiggle room, he gonna put that pressure on you. He gonna get to you. If I was Teofimo, I'm taking the Tank fight. It's not even a question. I'm taking the Tank fight. If you want to play it safe, take the Devin Haney fight. Just take it. It's easier because as good as Devin is, like I said, his boxing ability is really good, but he doesn't have the power. He's got footwork. He ain't got the power, and you know he doesn't have the power. So he doesn't have the power, and you don't fear his power, and you don't really fear his defense. He doesn't really have good defense either. He's kind of okay with defense, but he's not great with defense, and that's the thing. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen in the next couple of years. Like, I can't wait to happen. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen next year. 2025 should be the fight year. It should be big fucking fights left and fucking right. Like 2023. 2024 kind of slowed down a little bit. It wasn't super over the top. It was okay. 2024 was okay of the fights. It wasn't super over the top. You had some fights where you can easily dissect and tell you what was the best fights. But yeah, before I get into football, I want to talk about. I want to talk about basketball. So last night, the Denver Nuggets lost to the New York Knicks. Got their doors blown off. 40, 100. New York scored what 145 points, so like dang, like 118. I think it was the final score. Here's my thing. After the game, Coach uh, Malone went into the press conference and said, pretty much, I would love for my team to have some effort. I would love for my team to actually have some leadership. I would love for my team to actually give a fuck. Pretty much. Pretty much. I'm gonna sugarcoat it. What he pretty much was saying, like, I want you to actually give a fuck. I get that you motherfuckers are multimillionaires. You bat your eye, you get a bitch. I get it. But like bro, like can you care for a second? Like can you give a fuck about this season at some point? in the beginning of the season. And Jamal Murray was coming in all nonchalant fucking line and was like, "Oh, come on, man, we got it, we good." Like, bruh, seriously? This man said Russell Westbrook is effort all day, every day, no problem. But I need my leaders. I need my people that's actually been on a fucking court with this and been here for the longest to actually give a fuck. Joker, Jamal, somebody care, give a fucking effort, be a fucking leader. And then Jamal Murray comes in right after him and say, "Oh man, coach, we got this. Come on, man. What you doing? What you doing? Why you doing all that, bro? The fuck? You serious?" This is why the NBA is in the shit that it's in. You could just you could freeze frame the coach saying, "I need effort. I need you to actually give a fuck." You could freeze frame that, and then you could hear his one of his second best fucking player on the team. It's supposed to be his second best player on the fucking team. Literally sit there and say, "Come on, coach, what you doing? Why we? What you doing? Hey, come on, man. It's early, man. We got a lot of shit going on in our real personal lives, man. Thanksgiving kind of corner. We trying to nigga what? What you say? I'm sorry, Nick. What you just say? I'm sorry. Hold on. What you huh? What you just say? This nigga started talking about his personal life. Nigga, I don't give a fuck about that. When you get on the court, nigga, this is where you're supposed to get away from that. The fact that this man literally told his head coach, "Man, it's early in the season, man. We got this." And you wonder why people are tuning the fuck out on the NBA because people like I think I said this last week. The NBA has got to do something that baseball has done. Gear the shit towards the teams and somewhat players. Shohei, okay, we'll make Shohei a star. But for the most part, it's about the teams. And the NBA is having and tonight I usually do my players going up, my teams going down, all that shit. I don't even want to do it because I don't even want to do it. I'll bring it back next week. I'll bring it back next week. I'll bring it back next week. Um, I'm happy. First of all, I want to just say this, man, because this is I Believe Sports. And I'm talking about basketball, man. I am watching Inside the NBA right now on TNT. It's so good to see Jalen Rose on fucking TV again. The fresh ass lineup. I got a fresh ass lineup, bro. I'm happy to see my boy Jalen Rose back on TV, bro. He deserved that shit. Now, I don't know if he's going on ESPN next year. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna be on ESPN next year with them niggas, but right now, I'm so fucking happy to see Jalen Rose on fucking TV, bro. It's respect, man. Respect, man. I'm happy to see my that man. I listen, man. Numbers don't lie. His show with his numbers don't lie. ESPN2 when they had numbers don't lie. First take on ESPN2. Uh, I'm sorry, they showed Shaq when Shaq bit the chip. Yo, Shaq, nigga, Shaq was about to. Yo, that nigga Shaq about to down TV. That nigga said, that nigga Shaq about to down TV. That nigga said, Yo, that shit was funny. Yo, this is actually more entertaining than the actual NBA. That tells you all you need to know. Like, I'm laughing at the inside the NBA of them showing Shaq biting a hot chip. And this nigga damn near about to pass the fuck out. This nigga said, ah. That shit was so funny, dog. That nigga said, ah. That shit was fucking stupid. Yo, I've watched that clip like 100 fucking times on YouTube. That shit is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. Nigga said, he was talking shit. That's the crazy part. He was talking shit. He's like, ah. Shit was fucking hilarious, bro. Oh my god, I'm gonna miss that shit, bro. Oh my God. Yeah, man. I'm happy to see Jalen Rose on TV again, man. From the former, him and Bill Simmons having that numbers don't lie with Michael Smith and Jamel Hill. When First Take actually was good and it was on ESPN too. I, 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 I missed that time frame, man. ESPN two used to be the shit, bro. When him and Jill and Jacoby used to have a show, man, bro, that shit used to be fire, bro. Like, man, ESPN two used to have them shows, bro. When Scott Van Pelt used to have his radio show, when Colin Cowherd used to have his show on there, when I don't know what the fuck Colin Cowherd does now on FS1, that nigga shit just it's 50% is again, it's 50% I agree with, 50% I don't agree with. It's some of the shit I agree with, some of the shit I do not agree with on this show. But yeah, man, yeah. But the NBA right now is struggling, and I will tell you why I feel like the NBA is struggling because the players don't give a fuck, and it sounds like it's mailed in, but it's so fucking true. The players don't give a fuck. You got so many, and now I'm seeing it on social media, TikTok a lot. But you hear the players literally say you got 50% of the league, maybe half of the fucking league that don't even give a fuck about the NBA. They don't care about the game. They don't give a fuck. This is just a check to them. And you see it in the league. You see it a lot now. A lot of these players don't care. They are reckless with the game of basketball, man. NBA. And it's another thing. The NBA is in a very, very scary position right now because the best thing for the NBA is that Boston becomes a dynasty again. Boston needs to be a dynasty. That's another thing that's hurting the NBA is that there's no team to hate. There's not one team or dynasty that you can care about. Denver won the championship a couple years ago. A couple years ago, Denver ain't been the same since. Milwaukee won the championship a couple years ago. Ain't been the same since. The Lakers won the title in the pandemic. Ain't been the same since. You don't have a champion. You don't have a franchise. You don't have a dynasty team anymore. When the NBA was hot, was 2016, 2015 through like no 2014, 2015 through on like before the pandemic. That was when the NBA was fucking smoking. When you can actually say it was actually more watchable than the NFL. Steph Curry was the man. Golden State was the team. LeBron James was running in the East. You had care. You wanted to see who could take down LeBron. You wanted to see, it was a young Boston team with Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, and it was, and again, I'm not one of these people that like to blame somebody for shit. But the NBA went down when LeBron went to the West. It really did. And I know people gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, Brian, you just saying that shit." No, it's fucking facts. Think about it. All the best teams became in the West. Now you had to figure out who the fuck could win the East. Yeah, Giannis was good. Milwaukee was okay, but you got random teams in the East now just fighting to just get on. Like I said, the best two things that happened to the NBA: LeBron went to the West, and there's no dynasties in the NBA right now. There's not one, and that's just killing the NBA. It really is. It's killing the NBA, man. That was my weekly blame of LeBron James. I'm gonna start calling that shit that. Since niggas think that when you say that, you just saying shit about that nigga. You just hating on that nigga. No. But look at the NBA since then. Look at the NBA since LeBron went to the West. You don't give a fuck about the East. Not even in the yeah. You care about Giannis. You care about Jason Tatum, Boston kinda, Cleveland kinda, but you don't care about the team. So you don't give a fuck about the East. The West in this decade has always been better than the East. But what kept the East afloat? LeBron James. And who could ever topple him? He left the East and nobody significantly beat him in the East. Think about that shit for a second. You always knew whoever the fuck LeBron team was, they were going to the NBA Finals. He never lost in the East. He just left. He just left. He never lost. So it would have. I think that's also another thing. Like LeBron never lost in the East. So if this Boston team or Milwaukee or Toronto had took him down, maybe we would have cared. So when the next team came and took them down, we would have been like, there it is. Okay, cool. Like the, you know why people love Michael Jordan so much? I'm gonna do this series, and I'm finally do it. I'm gonna do it at the beginning of next year. Excuse me. I'm gonna do it at the beginning of next year. Jordan to Kobe to LeBron. Jordan versus Kobe versus LeBron. I don't know what I'm gonna name it yet, but I'm gonna title it something. You know why people love Michael Jordan so much? As much as people try to sit there and try to say, "Oh, he didn't beat Larry Bird in the playoffs, and he barely beat Detroit," but he went through those teams. He went through those teams, and when he became dominant. You couldn't stop that nigga. LeBron became dominant because he went to another team. It wasn't like he stayed in Cleveland and told D Wade and Chris Bosh, "Hey man, come fuck with me in Cleveland. We could do this shit here." See, that's another thing people always fucking miscue is that, oh man, you act like he didn't get Dennis Rodman, but they drafted Scottie Pippen. They drafted Tony Kukoc. Most of the players that they already had drafted or either traded before the Bills even were good. What are you talking about? One of my favorite players of all time is Roman Harper. Roman Harper. People don't know that. Ryan Harper. Ryan Harper is one of my favorite fucking basketball players of all time. Ryan Harper. Yep. Tony Kukoc too. Those are two of my favorite players of all time. I was a weird kid. Sorry. I was a weird fucking kid. I need to preface that. I was a weird kid. I love Mike, but I was a weird kid. I love Tony Kukoc. I don't know what it was. I've always had like I always loved the European players. So Manu Ginobili's and the Tony Parker and all that. I always loved that game. I don't know. It was just always different. Dirk Nowitzki. Oh my god, man, I loved Dirk when I was a kid. Loved Dirk when I was a kid. But yeah, man. Ron Harper, Tony Kukoc, those are my favorite players. I don't know what it was. I just love those players. I love them more than probably Scottie Pippen. I love them. I was more of a fan of them. I was like Mike and Ryan Harper and Tony Kukoc. Hell yeah, let's get it. I love Dennis Rodman because he was in the NWO. Who the fuck didn't love Dennis Rodman? The man was in the NWO. Come on now. But that's why LeBron just left the East, and he left the East when he was dominating the East. Now, if he would have left the East with with a team that actually beat him and sent him on his way to the West, all right. But that's kind of why the NBA kind of feels also a little lackluster because there's no real team in the East that you really believe in every year. And that's the thing. The closest team that got close to him is Boston to beating him. Go figure. My crazy six. Crazy six, man. College football. Crazy week last week. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Listen, man. On my podcast, I say a lot of shit. I say a lot of shit. One thing I've always said is I'm an SEC kid, but I hate the SEC bias. I hate that the SEC gets in no matter what. Losing has to count, bro. I get it. I get it. I get it. College football is all about the brands. But losing has to count for fucking something. You do not have two losses on your resume and sneak back into the playoffs just because you beat Georgia. What? Just because you beat Texas. What? Who you lose to does matter, but it seems like it only matters in other conferences. But in the SEC, if you lose to a 6-4, if Miami, who lost to Georgia Tech, who is now on what I think 6-4, but Miami lost to Georgia Tech, so that's a terrible loss. But Georgia lost to, but Ole Miss lost to fucking Kentucky and LSU. Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. The fuck? And Oklahoma. In the fuck are you talking about? Like you lost to Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. And who else Alabama lost to? Who else Alabama lost to? It was Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. One game you never led in the game. The other game, your offense didn't show up. And then Saturday, you just got your ass whooped outright. That wasn't even a close game. It was just an ass whooping. Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky, LSU, and now Florida. In what world does that make it? The only reason why you would even put them in the conversation is because they beat Georgia. That's it. That's the only team they played and they actually beat Georgia. Okay. Um, the three losses you have is against teams that ain't even nowhere near the SEC could in the SEC conversation. You lose to you beat Georgia, who ain't really that fucking good, and now we having a whole other conversation. Listen, man, I can't wait to see these polls because this poll is going to tell us just how extremely fucking stupid they really are when it comes to this college football playoffs. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, I'm not shy Colorado lost either Kansas. I thought it was impossible for Kansas to win three consecutive games against three top 25 teams, but the sons of bitches did it. Sons of bitches did it, and that was the most impressive. You think about it, Colorado was coming in. BYU had struggled against Utah the week prior. Iowa State had just lost to Iowa to Texas Tech the week prior. So they was catching a lot of teams on just the what the fuck just happened mindset. Colorado was the team that came in was dominating teams, and they went into Kansas and lost, which I said it was. I wasn't surprised, wasn't shocked. Kind of knew it was gonna happen because I'm like Colorado's not good. When they actually have to be put in pressure to actually have to come back in games, they're not that team. They're not. They're not built for that. Their defense isn't built to stop run, especially when they're down, and their offense isn't built to come back from a fucking deficit like that. Like a lot of people think they are. They're not. Because to be honest, yeah, Miller's doing good, but for the most part, it's really just Shador to Travis, and that's pretty much it. And if you double Travis, what the fuck you gonna do then? So yeah, let's get into it. My crazy six of college football for week 14. Number one, what a bullet, is the Oregon Ducks. They're 11-0. They will be playing in a Big Ten championship game, but before they get to the Big Ten championship game, they have to get through that Pac-12 rival Washington. One more time, they play in Oregon this upcoming Saturday. Um, Oregon, listen, man. Like I've been said about Oregon, the jury's out on them. I don't trust them motherfuckers for nothing. I don't trust them. Ohio State. Congratulations to Ohio State for beating Indiana. I really, like I said, when the game even started, I said last week that if Indiana came in with this it's Ohio State, it's the big house, we gotta pretty much do everything in our power to win this, they were gonna lose. So yeah, Oregon. Listen, I am like I said all the time, man. I am out on the Big Ten teams. I don't trust the Big Ten teams. There's nothing about the Big Ten teams that I actually physically think are good. Nothing. The scheduling has made them look obsolete because they really haven't played anyone. If they had the same type of rigorous run through, Oregon's got to play Penn State, and Penn State's got to play Ohio State, and Ohio State's got to play Oregon, and Oregon's got to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you actually play the Big Ten's not fucking good. Look at the Big Ten. four teams: Indiana, Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon. How many of those teams you actually believe are good? They haven't really played anybody, and that's why I don't really trust them. I haven't seen Oregon really play top competition, so it's kind of hard for me to say, yeah, Oregon's gonna easily win these games. I don't fucking know that shit. I think Oregon goes into the if Oregon goes into a game against Miami, I think Miami beats them. I think if they play Ohio State again, I think Ohio State beats them. I don't think Oregon's that good. They're number one because they're undefeated, and there's not too many teams that's left undefeated. But I give Oregon a number one pull. They're gonna probably beat Washington. But again, the fuck does that mean? You win a Big Ten championship game. You're probably playing Ohio State. If you lose to Big Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, then what? Then what? Is Ohio State not the best team in college football? Which I don't think they are. Then what? So, yeah. Number two is Boise State, 10-1. They go up against Oregon State. They are going to be playing in the the Mountain West Championship game, conference championship game. That's up next Friday, I think, next week. Um, they only lost claim to Oregon. I've said this numerous times. Oregon didn't really, Oregon barely escaped that game when they played them. But Boise will play against Oregon State. They are 10-1 going up against Oregon State and Boise. I will be talking about that game a little bit more. Listen, Boise, the last couple of weeks have kind of escaped these last two games that they physically have played. They have to get back to being somewhat dominant at some point this week, or at least in the Midwest Championship game, because they are looking for a reason to take you out. They are trying their hardest to take you the fuck out of the college playoffs. And the more these teams are losing, the more it seems like they have no choice but to put you at number four or at least high on the list. And that's what they do not want to do. They don't want to do that. You might be the fourth seed again this week, but they're not. They do not want to give you four. They do not want to keep you in the fucking college playoffs. I'm telling you this shit now. They are looking for you to fuck up. Do not, and like I said, you're winning, and also teams behind you are losing, and they're losing like they're losing. So it's starting to become the real conversation is like these teams are not good. So what do you do with Boise? Like I said, Boise's only losses to Oregon. If they beat Oregon State and they win the Mountain West championship game, I don't give a fuck if Texas wins the SEC or Oregon or Ohio State wins the Big Ten. There should be a conversation for who should be actually number fucking one. Number three is Notre Dame. Notre Dame is number three. 10-1. They go up against USC to close out their season, and then wait to see what happens. Um, Notre Dame is another one, very tricky. Um, now unlike Boise, Notre Dame has played somewhat undefeated, you know, top 25 teams. But let's be real, their best wins is against the Texas A&M, who probably if they lose to Texas this week, that win looks a little shaky and light. And if and also that didn't help them that they lost to fucking Auburn last weekend. But Notre Dame's best wins are literally against Army and fucking Navy. That's their two best wins, like Army and fucking Navy. And the other win is against Texas A&M, who had pretty much their worst quarterback in the starting rotation at the time, in the lineup at the time. Okay, Notre Dame is 10-1. Their offense has improved the last couple of weeks, but again, like I said, you're not playing any fucking body. Most of these people have not played really anybody. Boise's played Oregon, but Boise pretty much has walked through the Mountain West. Oregon has pretty much not played anybody in the Big Ten, and when they did actually play somebody that could really compete with their ass, Ohio State, Wisconsin, they have struggled. Same thing with Notre Dame. They haven't really played any fucking body. Texas A&M, like I said, Texas A&M, Notre Dame's offense did not win them that game against Texas A&M. Just like their offense did not, just like their offense definitely is the reason for why they got one loss on the schedule. And like I said, Notre Dame has the worst fucking loss of it all. Now I know people gonna sit there and say, "Well, why the fuck they're third?" Because at the end of the day, I had to put somebody third. And I could have swapped it. I should have swapped it, but I left them at three. Because at four is also a 10-1 team, and that'd be the U, baby. Miami 10-1 bounced back after losing to Georgia Tech after taking a bye week, 42 to what 10? I think they beat Georgia Tech by. I mean beat Wake Forest by. They're on the road against Syracuse this weekend. That is a fucking interesting fucking game. I will be talking about that in a minute. Miami needs to win this game. There is no conversation. There is no like I said last couple weeks. Miami, you cannot play Russian roulette with games no more. You can't say, oh, we can just catch up in the second half. Fuck that. You need to dominate. Good start against Wake Forest, but you need to beat Syracuse. The fact that also Clemson has no ACC games left on their schedule. This is pretty much your only chance to actually get the number one to get into the ACC championship game against SMU. You need to win this game and you need to dominate in this fucking game. Cam Ward is, like I said, the number one quarterback for me. I don't give a fuck with nobody. Cam Ward is the number one quarterback with a bullet for me. I think Cam Ward is the best quarterback coming into this NFL draft. I think anybody that's sitting up there trying to tell you he's not, peace be with you. Peace be with you. Cam was the best quarterback coming into the draft, but I do believe he needs to have a Heisman performance Saturday. I don't give a fuck how bad the defense is in that game for Miami. He needs to go out there and have a fucking Heisman performance. Dominate the fucking game. Make it to the point where people cannot sit there and say, you're not the reason for why they lost. You need to dominate. Miami is a really great team, but they got to prove it, man. They got to have games like this where the competition is there and you have to dominate. You're on the road against Syracuse. It's right after Thanksgiving. It's a Saturday. Nobody's really going to be probably really paying a fucking attention to it. But this is the game that makes or breaks your season right here, man. Like you've already, like I said, you've already fucking lost. You can't lose twice because then Clemson gets the spot, and now you just sitting there like, well, we had our destiny. The fate of our season was literally in our fucking hands, and we decided to fuck around with it and just lose. Number five, and that is SMU, 10-1 as well. They are going to be hosting California, Cal University. Like I said, SMU's already in the ACC championship game. They have already clinched the spot. They have not lost in the ACC, which sells you a lot. Their only losses come to BYU, who still somehow, some way, still has a chance to get into the Big 12 championship game. I don't know how the fuck that even works, but okay. I don't even know how that fuck that works, but okay. Um, SMU is good, man. SMU is a really good fucking team. A lot of people do not talk about SMU as much as I thought they would, but SMU is a really good fucking team. Um, they have a really good defense, and they can really play, man. They are a really decent football team. Really, a really great program from top to bottom. Like I said, in the ACC championship game, so they're just waiting for who plays them, Miami or Clemson. And for their sake, I'm hoping and praying that it's Clemson. That it is Clemson. And then number six is the Ohio State Buckeyes. 10-1. They host Michigan. Um, Again, I am very against the Big Ten. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. It sounds like I'm biased as fuck. I'm just very just discrediting to the Big Ten, but I just don't have faith in the Big Ten. Ohio State's probably played the toughest schedule out of the Big Ten, and even in that sense, it still looks a little shaky and alike. You you lose to Oregon and Oregon by a point, cool. You go to Penn State, you beat Penn State, cool. You beat Indiana this past Saturday, cool. What now? What? You win this game, you get into the Big Ten championship game. Great. That's the thing, man. This is the thing, man. Ohio State needs to win this game against Michigan because if they don't, Ryan Day proves one thing: he cannot beat Michigan, even with Jim Harbaugh is not on the sidelines. That's a problem. I was in college football week 14. You already know 4 games. My skeptical game of the week, my most interesting game of the week, my upset game of the week, and of course, my game of the week. Let's get into it, man. My skeptical game of the week is an oldie but a goodie. Oh yeah, they're finally back in each other's conference, so you know it's gonna be war, baby, war, baby. Texas versus Texas A&M. Skeptic game of the week. Listen, I have said numerous times, Texas is a weird team. Texas has not been on the road, and when they have been on the road the last couple of weeks against, when they have been on the road, they have struggled against Arkansas, Vanderbilt. Okay, keep that in mind. And now you're going into Texas A&M, who you haven't been in their building in some years. You haven't been in the. I don't think you've been in Texas A&M's building since they left the Big 12. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be an interesting fucking game. And on top of that, it's to see who makes the SEC championship game, which sounds so fucking wild that Texas and Texas A&M about to play. See who's gonna make the fucking SEC championship game. But they're playing to see who's gonna make the SEC championship game. It sounds so fucking wild that that's actually happening, but it's happening. The first time they meet up in what, a decade, maybe, in the actual regular season game conference play, is to see who goes to the SEC championship game. Texas A&M, who hasn't made the SEC championship game since they moved to the SEC, and Texas's first year in the SEC, can make it to the championship game. That's enough to make me want to watch. That's enough to make me want to watch. I don't know about y'all, but that's enough to make me want to watch. Most interesting game of the week. I already talked about it. Miami versus Syracuse. Miami's 10-1. Syracuse is 8-3. Syracuse is an interesting team. They have always been an interesting team, but in that Cara Dome or in their stadium, they're even more dangerous. Syracuse has always been an interesting fucking team. They always pull out one on out the ass every year. Miami cannot walk into this game and play like they don't know what the fuck is about to happen. Like I said, Miami needs to win. And also, if we're going off of past shit, well, this is an old Big East matchup between Miami and Syracuse. If you remember the Big East, not this new Big East, not this new shit. It's about the old Big East. But Miami versus Syracuse, Miami needs to win this game, man. They need to win this fucking game if they have any chance of even making the college playoffs. They got to win this game. I know. Well, Brandon, no, they have to win this game because Clemson has nobody left on the ACC schedule. And if you lose this game, Clemson is officially in the playoffs, technically, because they play SMU, and you're pretty much out. You had your fate just literally taken from you because you played very nonchalant. Because I don't think nobody beats Miami but Miami. That's how good of a team I think Miami is. But nobody beats Miami but Miami because they fucking play nonchalant football too fucking much. Hopefully they actually put some fire under their ass and go out here and dominate early. You can do all that lackadaisical shit in the off season. Don't do that shit in the game where you actually have to win it. That's stupid. Upset game of the week is Oregon State versus Boise State. Oregon State's only 5-6. Boise State is, like I said, 10-1. But this is a weird game for Boise because, like I said, you're in the middle of well, we got the conference championship game next week. If we win that, we're in technically. So what do? You play a team. Now here's the saving grace for Boise State. They're at home. That's it. That's the saving grace for Boise State. They're at home. The last couple weeks they've been on the road, but this week they're actually at home. But this game is a little weird. It's very fucking weird. Oregon State just beat Washington State, who's really good this season. This is one of those games where you can same thing with Miami. You can play lackadaisical if you fucking want to, and see your ass watching the fucking college playoffs at fucking home. The only thing that saves Boise State is that you have lost to Oregon, and that's it. You lost to Oregon, who's the number one team in the country. But outside of that, there's no real reason for Boise to get in. And if you lose this game, this will be held against you no matter what you say. Even though you have probably a better loss on a docket than fucking Notre Dame do. But at the end of the day, you also lost to fucking Oregon State. We ain't even in a conference. The fuck are you doing? You can't lose this game. You physically cannot lose this game. You can't lose this game. Game of the week is South Carolina versus Clemson. Battle of the South Carolinas. South Carolina, crazy as it sounds, kind of has a shot to get the SEC championship game. It's a very fucking long shot. I mean, they literally have to hope Georgia loses to Georgia Tech and other bullshit and other shit. But South Carolina has a chance to get the SEC championship. It sounds fucking crazy. That's actually a thing, but it is. And like I said, Clemson is literally hoping Miami falls to Syracuse. If they do not lose to Syracuse, then Clemson's pretty much dead in the water. There's nothing they can do about it. Then it's SMU versus Miami. But this is the thing, man. This game is so interesting because Clemson wins, Miami loses the NAC championship game. But like I said, you gotta hope for a lot of shit if you're Syracuse. But if you're Syracuse, do you not just want to dash Clemson's hopes of even getting into the playoffs? I mean, why not? Right? Like if Miami wins and Clemson wins, they have a chance to kind of get in, kind of, because it's Clemson. But why not bust their ass just in all the hopes? Just in the hopes. Fuck it. Why not? So that's the game of the week. Syracuse, South Carolina versus Clemson. My big four of the NFL. Let's be real. Y'all been waiting for this. Let's get it going. Four teams. My four. I don't do five. I don't do 10. It's just my four. I do not do all the extra shit. My four. Here we go. And number one, with a bullet. They ain't falling no time fucking soon until they lose. And even when they lose, they don't lose. And that is the Detroit Lions. Winning last Sunday 24-6 in Indianapolis. Their defense is starting to be something. I'm telling y'all now, if that defense gets healthy before the playoffs, y'all can mail them motherfuckers to Lombardi. They don't even have to play in the Super Bowl. Mail them to Lombardi. We good. Move them niggas to Lombardi, bro. We ain't even gotta do all this extra, bro. We ain't even gotta do all this extra, bro. I still want to see the Super Bowl where they just put up 50 on niggas, but it'd be uncalled for. So disrespectful. It'd be so uncalled for. The shit is just wrong. Of course, you already know they play Thanksgiving Day. Oh yeah, at home against the floundering, shaky. What the fuck is happening? Chicago Bears. I will be on my show with my brother Juan tomorrow. We'll be doing our picks. Um, so yeah, if you want to hear what I'm gonna say about this game, tune in tomorrow. But Detroit is that team, man. I've been listen, man. Like I said, man, I've been on Detroit's bandwagon for damn near shit. since they hired Dan Campbell. So when was that? 2021? 2020 pandemic? 2021 when they hired Dan Campbell? Yeah, I've been on that bandwagon since then. And they went one in 16, 2-15 that year. And I was just like, nah, man, something about that team. 10-1, bro. 10-1. I know they have not won on Thanksgiving in a minute. Chicago's got a really good defense. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like Chicago's defense is not good. Chicago's got a really good defense. What I expect is going to happen is that defense of Detroit is going to have to outplay the Bears offense and force the Bears into situations where they can't get out of it. Like Caleb Williams. This is going to be the biggest test for Chicago Bears defense in a long time. And I don't know how they're gonna handle it. I really don't. It's gonna be pretty fucking interesting. Dave Montgomery plays. Amon St. Brown plays. They this might be an ass whooping. I ain't gonna lie. It might be an ass whooping. But we shall see Thursday. Tune in. Number two. Speaking of winning, that's the fucking Eagles, man. 9-2. I have said for the last couple of weeks, I think the Eagles are winning despite of their head coach, and I am not changing my fucking plan. I think they're winning because of despite of their head coach. But there's a new person that I also think the reason why they're winning. His name is Saquon Barkley. He's 26. The dude runs the fuck out the football. 255 fucking yards rushing. 302 total yards by his fucking self. I'm not saying MVP shouldn't go to Lamar Jackson this year because I think he should get it. But if there's ever a case, if there was ever a case for a fucking running back, oh my god, this would be the case. I'm not saying Lamar should not win the MVP, but I ain't saying he should win that bitch outright. Yeah, like this, we need a conversation, ladies and gentlemen. This is time to have a conversation because there is no way in hell Saquon Barkley. You see what he is doing in Philly, and you just sitting there like, ain't nobody gonna say shit about this dude. You just sit around like ain't nobody gonna say shit. This nigga out here doing the most. This nigga's out here doing the most. Oh my god, he saved Philly. This is the same offense from last year. There's nothing that changed about this fucking offense. There's nothing that changed about this offense. This is the same Philly offense. The only difference is it's Saquon fucking Barkley. That's it. That's the only fucking difference. Is Saquon fucking Barkley. This shit is different. They actually have a running game. This shit is different, bro. I'm not saying Lamar shouldn't win the MVP, but we need a conversation. This shit is getting bad, man. Saquon, bro. Yo, I just be like sitting there being like, so the general manager of the Giants really sat there and said they don't want to hand the ball off to a $12 million running back because they're paying a $45 million quarterback. If they don't want to hand the ball up to a $12 million running back because they're paying a $45 million quarterback, which they just released this past week. And you see Saquon doing what he's doing in Philly. See, that's how you niggas lose their jobs. See, this shit is ridiculous, bro. He signed his own fucking. Bro, this lost his job. He lost his job. This shit is crazy. Shit is bad, bro. Oh my god, yo, that shit is wild. Number three. Number three. Despite the loss, I still have the Pittsburgh Steelers at number three. 8-3. Playing against the Cincinnati Bengals this upcoming weekend. Listen, man. Yes, they lost to the Cleveland Browns in a very weathery game. It was snowing. Shit happens. But where the problem kicks in for me for Pittsburgh is what I said last week about Pittsburgh, which is their quarterbacks. Listen, I like Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson is not this great quarterback that he used to be. Can he throw the football? Yeah, but y'all are sacrificing him throwing the football for actually getting out the fucking pocket. Russell Wilson's good. but he ain't. I don't think he's gonna win you a Super Bowl this year. I think he could get you there, but I don't think he's gonna win you a fucking Super Bowl. Like I've been saying, you might need to play the two quarterback system, and they did it a little bit in the Cleveland game. I know people sitting there was trying to criticize it, be like, "Oh, why would they take Russell Wilson out there? Because he can't fucking run no more, bro. What are y'all talking? What the fuck are y'all not seeing? This man is not athletic anymore. He's just a pocket quarterback. They need to put Justin Fields in the fucking game to get those types of situations going. Now, just Justin Fields is not Taysom Hill. He's not gonna physically run through you. That's not his game. He's more athletic than that. But at the same time, Pittsburgh is good. They're okay. They're 8-3. But the thing about this Pittsburgh offense is that it's always been the same thing about this Pittsburgh's offense. There's nothing about this Pittsburgh offense that I don't sit here and think that the Pittsburgh offense can do. You went and got Mike Williams from the Jets, great. You went and you still got Josh Pickens, and that's awesome. Uh, and Pat from the as a tight end, that's great. They got some really good weapons on that offense, man. But the one thing about Pittsburgh that knocks Pittsburgh is the offense. The defense is great. The defense is okay. That's not the problem. The defense is really fucking good. But the one thing that knocks the Pittsburgh team is the offense, and it's still a problem. It's still the Achilles heel. But they're 8-3. And when you're winning, nobody could question you. But it's the same thing I said last week about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's the same thing I'm going to probably say about them until they win the championship. Or if they get far in the playoffs. The offense is okay. The defense is stellar, but the offense is okay. Nothing more, nothing less. It's kind of like Kansas City. The defense is good. The offense is okay. It's not great. It's not something super. But the difference is they have Patrick Mahomes and you don't. that's, 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 that's pretty much the fucking difference. They have Patrick Mahomes and you don't. And that's the fucking difference. That's it. And number four, it is the Baltimore Ravens. 8-4. Lamar Jackson having another. I told you motherfuckers I'm the second best quarterback in the NFL game. Did you motherfuckers not realize that shit? Type of game. He had that type of game last night. Just dragged his nuts on the Los Angeles Chargers last night. 30 to 23, just dragged his nuts all over the Los Angeles Chargers last night. Very disrespectful, Lamar. Very disrespectful. Them niggas are disrespectful. Derrick Henry is got to be the most disrespectful human being I've ever seen. Y'all run up trying to tackle this man, and he puts his arm out there like, seriously, nigga, you really think you about to stop me? This nigga got grown ass men grabbing on his leg, getting dragged 10 fucking feet. This shit is ridiculous, man. 10 yards of carry and shit. This shit is ridiculous, man. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is plain old wrong. I hope and pray that this is the Super Bowl, and it's Detroit and it's Baltimore. Because either I'm going to get Detroit winning the Super Bowl, or I'm going to get Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry winning the Super Bowl. I don't give a fuck who wins in that Super Bowl. I know one thing. I might have to go my ass home for that Super Bowl. I might have to take a trip to New Orleans for that Super Bowl. I know that's fucking much. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens play the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming Sunday. Tell me a great game when you see one. Oh my God, that shit's up. This could literally be the MVP game. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley. This can literally be the MVP game. It's going to be so good. Oh shit. It's going to be good. Baltimore's defense, though, is improving. It's improving. I give Baltimore's defense a little bit of credit because Lord knows we've been shitting on them for a good bit. But their defense is improving. I got to give them the credit. And by the way, Lamar Jackson he's lost only to one team in the NFC in his career. One. And that was the Giants. That shit sounds wild, but it happened. Um, sound like I'm making that shit up right now. You know, it sound like I'm making that shit up. No, it's a Lamar Jackson only lost to one team that plays in the NFC, and it was Daniel Jones in the Giants. Sound like I'm making that shit up, but I'm not. And last three. and that is the levels of warning of the NFL. Y'all already know: yellow, caution; orange, panic time; and red is just plain old DOA. So let's start it off. Number one, what a bullet! Yellow, caution, and it's the Texans, 7-5. Listen, I hear people saying CJ Stroud is regressing. He's not. I think he's having the offensive line I thought he would have last year. We forget last year he lost his center in training camp. He didn't lose just a center. He lost two centers in training camp. He lost a lot of offensive linemen early in that season last year, before the season even started, and then he still took him to the playoffs. I get that people want to sit here and say that he looks like he's regressing, but put context on that shit, bro. I think offensively, the Texans are they need to depend on Joe Mixon. I've been saying this. This is the time when you give it to Joe Mixon and just let it be that. But instead, they're I think they're trying to overly do it, and I think that they're Nico Collins is back, Tank Dell is back. Last week when they played the Cowboys on Monday Night Football, they looked like the Texans. They looked like they were finally figuring it out. And then you have a game against Tennessee. Again, it's a fucking divisional game. Yes, is Tennessee probably one of the worst teams in fucking football? You're fucking right they are. But it's a fucking divisional game. I can understand you losing to a divisional team that you see two times every fucking year. Shit happens. But to sit here and say, "Oh, he's just regressing," that's crazy. I don't think CJ Stroud's regressing. I think they need to build that offensive line. I think that offensive line is terrible. I think they need to, like I said this shit when the trade deadline happened. I said there's a lot of teams that need to go get some people. The Houston Texans are definitely one of them. I said they need to go get a fucking cornerback, and they definitely need to go get a fucking offensive lineman. If I was the Houston Texans, I would have called up the Cleveland Browns to see if I could get one of their offensive linemen. I would have done it. Raiders, somebody had a good offensive lineman that I could have used right now. I would have called somebody, man. And shit, Detroit always drives some good shit. You go get off the lineman from Detroit. Fuck it, their backup might be better than yours. I tell you, might be better than your starter. Like like shit, yeah. But Houston's offensive line is fucking terrible, and they've been bad for a while. Like I said, I thought this would be the offensive line that C.J. Stroud would have last year. So I'm not surprised that they have completely and utterly regressed offensive line wise. I'm not surprised by that shit at all. But they're still leading the division. Nobody's catching them. The Colts are pretty bad. The Jags are not catching them, and the Titans are not catching them. They just got to stay the course. The problem with this is that now you're behind Kansas City, Buffalo, and now the Pittsburgh Steelers. And even if they Pittsburgh don't make it, Baltimore takes it. So now you're behind. So now you're gonna be the fourth seed going into the playoffs, and the fourth seed right now plays the fifth seed, and the fifth seed is the Baltimore Ravens. No, the fifth seed. I'm lying. No, the fifth seed is Baltimore. Yeah, the fifth seed is Baltimore because they beat the Chargers last night. So the fifth seed is the Baltimore Ravens. So you want Baltimore to come home to Houston? You want them to come to Houston? You play them on Christmas Day. It's gonna be pretty interesting. You won't have Beyonce at halftime on that night. So let's just see what happens. Um, could be a first round matchup, but Houston needs to offensively find an identity. Defensively, they need to understand what the fuck they are. They are struggling in certain situations. I don't know what it is, but they need to figure it out fast. Like I said, they're gonna probably win the AFC South because the Jags are bad, the Titans are bad, and the Colts. The Colts have a crazier schedule than they do right now. So yeah, I think the Texans win the AFC South, but you're fourth seed now playing against a fifth seeded Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Orange, pen time, and that's the Cardinals. 6-5. Listen, I have been a very huge component of the Cardinals this season. They felt like Detroit last year. It felt like Detroit a couple years ago. That same Dan Campbell 2-5 Detroit Lions. It feels like that was the Cardinals last year. A lot of close games. Felt like Houston also a year prior when they had Lovey Smith and they was just still kind of in games. They were battling, but they couldn't win them because they didn't just have the talent yet or even a quarterback. It feels like that's the Cardinals this year. I have said it's a little bit premature, possibly. Yeah, I thought the Cardinals would make the playoffs. I didn't think they would win the division. I think the Rams, even though despite them now falling off a fucking cliff, I think the Rams still give them some of a fight. Losing to Seattle and Seattle, I thought they would probably lose to Seattle and Seattle. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of felt like they could lose to Seattle and Seattle because they were due for a loss. I mean, the last couple of weeks they had been at home and dominated. I mean, absolutely fucking dominated the Bears and the Jets back to fucking back weeks. They're one of those teams. They're gonna probably beat you at home, but when they get on the road, they're gonna struggle. I'm not surprised that they lost at home. I mean, on the road to Seattle. Seattle's a really good team at home. But where the Cardinals now have a conversation is they're back. They're on the road this week against Minnesota. It's going to be an interesting game because Minnesota is still trying to keep pace with the Detroit Lions. Let's say Detroit loses to Chicago on Thursday night, on Thursday, and then they have to play, you know, the Cardinals on, Sunday, and they know all they gotta do is just win this game to at least have a conversation for the division. They're gonna probably do it. So this is a very interesting game for the Cardinals, and they have to win it. They have to win this because now it's like division wise it's not just even division wise. It's like you are also in a situation. It's not even division wise. I think you're also in a situation um, where the wild card situation. Because if you actually look at the NFC, you got two teams in the NFC North: Packers, Vikings, Packers, Vikings, and the Commanders, who's sitting there right now. Those are the teams. So you have a chance to make the playoffs, and beating the Vikings would go a long fucking way. And red is DOA, and that's the Patriots. 3-9. Listen, Patriots have their quarterback of the future, and everything else is still in fucking collateral damage. I don't know what the fuck they got. Outside of the Patriot, outside of Drake May, everything can go. It's starting to feel like that. Everything can go. Outside of Drake May and maybe Christian Gonzalez, everything can go. And Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson. So you got two things on offense and one good thing on defense, and that's Christian Gonzalez. Outside of that, everything else can go. I don't think the Patriots are a bad team, but I mean the record shows they're 3-9, so yeah, they're a bad team. But I don't think the Patriots are a terrible team. They have something that a lot of teams don't have, and that is at least a head start when it comes to the quarterback situation. Now they have to build that offensive line back up. They got to give them some fucking weapons. I think Jalen Polk is a really good start. Um, but they got to build that offensive line back up, and they got to also build that defense to be withstanding situations. Um, but outside of that, man, the Patriots' future to me, like I've been saying, is very bright compared to maybe the Bears. You have a coach, you have a coach, you have a quarterback. You just have to build it now, and that's it. Speaking of, that's it. This episode, that's it. Next Tuesday. What is next Tuesday? Holy shit! It's first Tuesday in December, I think. So yeah. Um, I'll be back next Tuesday doing another I Bleed Sports. And like I said last week, I will be bringing back my I Bleed Sports Awards. It's coming back soon. Hope you guys enjoy that. But until next time, man, I am Brandon Janeau. This is I Bleed Sports. Peace.